Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's Marketing Legos Thought Leader interview. My name is Harshit, and I'm the Director of Business Alliances of two amazing marketing SaaS tools, RankWatch and WebSignals. We have a very special guest and a brilliant marketer with us today, CEO of marketing agency Data Branding, Mauricio. Welcome so much, brother, and so happy to have you and host you today.
Thank you for inviting me and the opportunity to speak with your audience. I'm really happy, and I hope they find useful the subjects that we are gonna talk about.
Thank you. Mauricio, please tell us a bit more about yourself, your journey so far. What were you like as a child, and how you got to where you are today?
Okay, really fast. So I started working really young in the marketing and advertising industry.
Mhm.
The father of my best friend had a big agency in Mexico down in the 80s and the 90s, where the budgets were really big. One day my father's friend told him, okay, you have to start working. And we were best friends, and we spent almost all the days together in the afternoons after school and all the summers. So I didn't have my friend anymore. So I go to his father and tell him, okay, he's gonna start working, can you give me a job as well, because I don't have anything to do in the afternoons? And he told me, yes, you can do that. So that's how I got introduced into the marketing world. And one part that I loved about everything is to make those days, it was to make TV commercials. They were made as small movies. They were filmed. They weren't recorded on video. The film industry was really big, so you had to bring big cinematographers from Los Angeles, and you have to go to Los Angeles to develop your material and everything. So it was a very glamorous and special way to do things. So making TV commercials was really nice. So I love that part. So I started to get into that part of the agency, and we started producing the TV commercials for big brands, for Coca-Cola, for Procter and Gamble, Hershey's, you name every big brand. We made TV commercials for them in those days. Then I went to college, and I did my major in marketing and advertising. And when I finished the school, I found my company. So I was in Mexico City,
Okay.
and I was directing in that time TV commercials because I started so young. So I started doing the lamps and pulling up cables, and then I started then to work into assistant of the assistant, then into assistant, and then to assistant of the producer, and then assistant of the director. So I ended up directing TV commercials.
Well, most of
So
the roles, yeah.
yeah, so my company at the beginning, that's what we were specialized. And I studied a little bit of music. I went to the Mexican Conservatory, and then I went to Boston and I studied a little bit of cinematography and how to directing actors at Harvard. So I was very pleased and very happy with that part. But remember that internet changed everything. The company back then was really successful. We were making, I don't know, around 200 TV commercials per year. We
Wow.
started doing other services because we had all the studios. So we started making radio advertising and then print advertising. So it was going really well, but the big business was around the film production.
Okay.
But remember that internet changed everything. So people stopped watching TV. So the budgets went down, and we had to reinvent ourselves
Yep.
because nobody was watching TV anymore. We didn't have the previous budgets that we had. So we started struggling uh, from making 200 commercials per year. We started, I don't know, I think we end up making 15 commercials a year or so. So it went really down. We had to reinvent ourselves. So we start making in the agency another kind of services like activations and all that stuff. And it was at that time the transition when people didn't believe really in digital marketing, but they weren't having all the budgets or putting the money into the traditional advertising because it was starting to go down, and we didn't have the same results
Yep.
as the previous years.
Yep.
That's when I started to study again what was going on, and I discovered digital marketing. So I said, this is where we had to go. And because of the results and because of that, you can measure everything. That
Yep.
was really great. Before in the traditional advertising, if you needed to make a study, probably the making the study was the same cost as making the campaign. So it was really expensive. So not all people had the money to spend and see what was going on or what was really going on with the market. But with digital marketing, it was a must to have to analyze everything, and you can analyze everything because you have data really easy. So that's when I started to change all the agency into inbound marketing. And of course, being in inbound marketing, it's with HubSpot because they invented inbound marketing.
So this
I
was
was,
Mauricio.
yes,
This transition happened in which year approximately?
this was around the ending of the 2000s, and it was around 2000. So I was looking to make a software to make digital advertising, and in the research, I found HubSpot, and I
Yep.
started working with them and using the platform. So I was the first Latin American company who started to make digital advertising, and we were the first Latin American partners of HubSpot.
I'm sure because early 2007, 2008, like that was when even the HubSpot was like getting grip of the market and not that famous.
No,
So
they were famous. The software was really old. It looked
yep,
like a new thing instead of a nice design, but
yep,
it gave results. So it didn't matter. They start growing, and of course, with all the marketers that were that we were working with HubSpot and telling them ideas on what we needed. And I think that the success of HubSpot has to do with that because they listen to all the marketers and they start building a really great platform around that. And of course, they start growing. They have public monies and they made inbound marketing really famous, and
that's
it became famous because of the results. You have really results with your clients. It's amazing that the principle of digital marketing, it's really easy. It's you have to listen your customers because they are gonna ask answers to Google. They need answers. They have questions on how to solve anything that they are trying to solve. And companies, that's what we do. We help our customers to solve things through our solution. So the principle is really easy. As long as you answer all those questions through content in your website, Google is going to send you those people because Google needs your answers. You can pay, of course, you can pay Google as well, but that's another space. But if you don't pay to Google, Google needs to find a good information. If Google doesn't give us good answers, we're going to start using other platforms. I don't know, maybe any search engine. So Google needs good information, and if your website is built with that information, you're going to be successful. And of course, that information has to be written for two languages. The first language is for the user. You have to explain how you can help them solve their problem. But the other language is the SEO part. You have to help the search engine understand how to index your content, how to classify. So when someone asks a question, they say, okay, here's a great answer. And here is a website that has a lot of answers around that subject.
yep,
So that's how Google it's gonna send you a lot of people. And of course, that's the beginning of the digital marketing and the things that we do. And we specialize on content. I know there are a lot of agencies that now are specializing in the CRM because the
yep,
CRM it's also a really good part
yep,
of the system because you have to follow up all the leads that come from the marketing. But I see that the real engine is to attract people.
definitely.
And if you have good salespeople, of course, the CRM is going to make their life much easier. But even though if you have a great CRM and a great following and nurturing campaigns, but you don't have good salespeople, it doesn't matter. And
Yep.
salespeople doesn't are not in our side of the agency. The salespeople should be on the client side. So that's why we're still specializing on content. And of course, we can help all the sales teams to follow up, and we help them with the nurturing campaigns, and we help them with the lead scoring and all that part. But if the sales team is not good, it doesn't matter. They are not going to close. So that's why it's difficult to maintain the revenue in inbound marketing.
That's
You,
true.
as an agency, can make a great work to attract people, but if the client is not doing their part with a good sales team and a good follow-up, all your efforts are going down.
Yep.
So that's the trick when we need to select good clients. That's a
Correct.
big part of it. You need a client that it's willing to adopt new technology,
Yep.
that it's willing to adopt new ways of doing things, and it has to come from the top. You need the CEO says buy-in, so the salespeople
Yep.
can start doing that. And it's a nice project because when salespeople understand that when we answer a question and
Yep.
that question becomes into a sales meeting, and that sales meeting becomes into a sale and then a customer, that's when they get it. Because salespeople don't get it from the beginning. They say, okay, now I have more responsibilities, I need to learn a new platform. We were doing okay with our Excel or whatever they use to follow up.
Yep.
So we don't need that. So it's a lot of extra work, and we have to help the agency to make the content.
Yep.
So it's a lot of new work for them that they didn't have. But when they start seeing the results and the blog that they help us do receive a comment, and that comment goes directly the notification to him, and he follow up that lead, and then he earns that commission per sale, that's
Yep.
when salespeople are happy.
Yeah.
But
I think that's a very good point, actually. A lot of marketers and basically businesses struggle a lot when it comes to bringing down the synergy between your top to bottom funnel activities and actually converting the leads to the clients. Can you please share a few tips with us, like how exactly you bring that synergy to your client's business altogether?
okay, the first thing is you have to have the buy-in of the CEO, and all start there. So if you have the support of the CEO, everything comes easier um, to implement inside the company. And what we do with all our clients, we put them into a cohort and we give them a course. It's a course around 15 hours where they learn what are we doing with inbound marketing? What is the process? Why do we need to make content? And we show them other clients' success stories so they can see how a blog can make meetings with them, with sales meeting, and then how they can follow up and close the sale. So it's all about education. And the other part is at the beginning, we had a lot of copywriters,
Yep.
and the copywriters made the research and they were making all the content. And it didn't really work because it wasn't the content of the client. It lacked of the soul of the company. So the other thing that we do right now is we tell the company that we need to make interviews with the matter subject of experts, the expert of that can give us that answer. So we go and we interview the expert. And of course, we made the content. We convert that into a blog, an ebook,
Sounds
or a
fantastic.
video, or whatever is needed. But when they answer that question, it has the special sauce of how they do things,
Yep.
and they are really happy. And of course, when the last user, the real client of our clients, read the blog, he's reading the real solution. It's not something that we made up. And we were really used to that before in the traditional advertising, because the clients didn't have any idea of how to communicate anything. So we gather a lot of copywriters and experts, and we put them into a meeting room, and we just put them in beer and pizza. And after 2 days, they become with a great story. They made up the story around that, and they made it with a really nice way to communicate that. We don't do that anymore. We can't do that anymore. We need to do real stories from the companies.
Yep.
So it changed a lot of things, and we had to learn all that in these 15 years that we've been doing digital marketing. So it was a really mindset change that we had to do, because we were in the traditional advertising, and we thought, okay, making content, we've been making content all these years, it's the same. And it wasn't the same, because it didn't connect to the audience they were looking for.
Yep.
And now doing this, I think we have really good results making that. So those tips are those that I think try always to educate your client. Everyone in the company needs to know what they are doing, because sometimes we have to work not only with the salespeople, we have to work, I don't know, with the people who are making the product, with engineers, as an example. And the engineer needs to understand that his answer is something that's going to help salespeople to understand how they do things. As an example, we have a tequila. We are from Mexico, and one of our clients is the second biggest brand of tequila. It's Tequila Sauza.
Okay.
And there were a lot of questions that people were making. Is it good to freeze the tequila or not? Should you take it frozen or not? And we went to the expert, so that he didn't have anything to do with marketing or sales or so. But that's something that people were asking. And it results that if you take a liquor and you freeze it up, or you're gonna lose a lot of aromas. So it's not the best thing to do that, because if you have a bad tequila and you froze it, you won't see the difference with a good one or a bad one. So it's not the best idea. Of course, if it's hot, it's good to drink it with ice. But that was something. Or other question is, how many tequilas you can drink before getting drunk?
That's brilliant. Actually, so what happens is, even to come up with these questions, right? You need to do some due diligence from your end, right? Create personas or finding the right keywords on which you build those query based terms. How do you go about that? Right?
Okay, the first thing about keywords is gather your salespeople and ask them, what questions do you receive? And it's amazing, because we've done this with marketing teams and sales teams. And we will go with marketing teams, they can tell us about 10 or 15 questions. And when you gather your sales teams, you can come up to 200 questions.
For sure.
So it's amazing how we humans are starting to talk to the machines as if they were humans. So this process is really important, because when the salespeople catch a question, people are typing it just as they are telling you. How do you do this? How do you solve that part? And it's amazing how that becomes the SEO, or a strong base of SEO. When you have those questions, then of course, all the platforms of SEO can help you understand how they search, or the exact words, how they search it. But the first part is to gather your sales team, gather those questions, and then put all those searches into your system, whatever system you have, and the system is going to help you with the statistics. And then you have to see two parts of the statistics. Uh, People are really looking a lot for a term, uh, but the general terms have a lot of traffic, but it's not a good lead because they're very generic. So you have to balance a little bit in which long-term keywords. So that's why I like the long questions. So you have to think, because you're gonna get easier to a long-term question or a long-term keyword, and you're gonna rank faster than a generic keyword. So that's another thing that we've learned through the years. Because at the beginning,
Give you much more refined audience, right? Your specific target niche that you want on your side. Yeah, makes sense.
yeah, so that's the thing that we've learned. And of course, the platforms helps you a lot, because they have all the statistics on which terms they are looking. Because remember, the difficult part is that when we ask a question as humans, we can refer to the same term in such different ways. So yeah, as an example, if we were looking for the forecast, the weather forecast, I don't know, 15 years ago, you have to put a weather forecast in your region, and put your region. And now you can tell Alexa, is it gonna be rainy? And then Alexa understand that it's the same term. So that's the other tricky part about SEO. And that's why the platforms are really useful, because they help you to see this part. Okay, you have the main question, and you put it in there, so that the search tools are gonna give you all the other ways people are looking for that, and they're gonna tell you which ones have more visits. And Yeah, so well, that's the thing about SEO that we do, but we like to gather all the information from the sales teams.
Right.
And I think that when you do that, you have a really solid SEO strategy. Of course, you can do a lot of things because you have the expert that do the analysis and all that stuff. But the strong and basic part is that.
No, no, Mauricio, actually it makes perfect sense because your salespeople are on the front line. They deal with the customers on daily basis, right? They understand what exactly the customer needs and definitely can act like a really good feed for the marketing department to build the content around those specific queries. So one very intriguing question again that comes to my mind is like, how exactly do you go about then planning the content? And what are the main KPIs that you keep track of to then further go down, say, in future and improve those marketing piece of content also.
Okay, so um, you have the tools and it's not an exact science.
Yep.
So it really comes to error and trial, because sometimes you think that there are some keywords that are going to perform really great and they don't. And then you have really surprises that you have some keywords or questions that you say, okay, only someone that is very specialized or a very narrow part of the population are looking for this specific question that is so specific that you would think that no one is searching for it. And those are the search terms that really run really fast. And then you have really good leads from that because they are really specific. And they are, I don't know, it's strange. So you have to look all your data, and it's part of inbound marketing. You have to analyze and improve, and it really comes to trial and error.
Yep.
If you see that something is working, try to do more content around that subject. And then the subject that you thought that it was going to be great is not performing as well, then you have to start looking for those long-term keywords, or more specific questions, as I tell the client, because not all the clients understand the long, and I tell them we need more specific questions. So basically that's it, and you have to perform this every month to start improving, and that's the way to improving it. And then of course, if you have the 10 most visit blogs that are bringing you a lot of content or a lot of visitors, try to review them and see if you can improve them. Probably you have a blog that is converting a lot, so try to see what content you made and how you made that content so people are converting so much, and try to copy that into the other blogs that are having a lot of visit, not too much conversion. you, it's not only writing the content, it's looking which content is performing. And I think the two keys is a lot of visitors and a lot of conversions,
Yep.
and try to mix, see what things are converting and try to mix them and rewrite them to make them better. So basically that's it. And of course, when you convert, also it has to do with the offers. And remember that the offer, it's not lowering your price. The offer is, I'm offering you more content where you can learn more how to solve your problem. Uh, and if the problem it's really important to that person, they're going to read a lot of content, because that's another thing that a lot of clients tell me, my clients don't read. And I have always when I do my talks, I
Yep.
always ask to people, do we have pregnant women here, or do we have young mothers? And there's always one, and say, okay, how many blogs have you read about how to change a diaper, or how to get your child to go to sleep early, or how to make the formula for your kid? And they tell me more than 100. So that's how I tell the clients, okay, the same thing. People want to solve their problem. If that problem is important, they're gonna read a lot. So that's when inbound marketing or content marketing gets the power. You are telling them how they can do that. And after that, you are gonna tell them, my solution, it's a good way that you can solve that problem. Why don't you try my solution?
Yep.
That's really the buyer's journey.
Yep. I think even one more very cool thing that businesses and marketers tend to do is when you search any query on Google, you get the search intent as well. Say what kind of results Google prefers showing for that specific query. It could be a blog, it could be a video, could be image, a recipe. So there are like tons of snippets that Google offers. And then really help marketers, they go around plan content as per that particular strategy. Because that again they guarantee quick win and quick jumping on top results as well, right?
Yes, that's another thing that we struggled before, and we took the solution from the old school of advertising.
Yep.
You have a campaign, that the campaign has a message, and that message you make it to TV, to radio, and to print advertising. So it's the same. Of course, in digital advertising, the base is written because all the platforms they develop to index and classify written content. They are doing great efforts to start to classify what's in an audio or in a video, but they are getting there, and they don't have it in all the languages. Try to see which contents are performing really well in the written part, and then those contents you have to adapt them and make them a blog, then a video, and then a podcast. So it's the same thing. The same content should be in the three formats: in audio, in video, and in the written part. Of course, making that it's a lot of effort and a lot of budget. That's why my recommendation is first see which are performing well in the written space, and then make them in video and in audio. Of course, you have to adapt them, because, as an example, a blog, how long should be a blog? Should be around 600 words. They can be more, of course, but around 600 words, any can read it. If you make it too long, it has to be a really good content, or if people needs desperately for the solution to read a 3,000 blog. They don't do that. So 600 it works. It's the correct amount. Then for video, it should be around 2 minutes, not more than 2 minutes. So try to do those 600 words in 1 minute to 2 minutes, not more than 2 minutes, because you're not going to read it. And when you try to do it in a podcast, people are used to listen to 15 to 20 minutes. So try to do that. The same content, just start talking about it. And it could be really easy if you interview your client and you put in front of them a camera, and in those interviews you can make the resume and make them 1 minute, and then you put the whole content on audio and you have your 15 minutes, and then you have your copywriter to make a great content in 600 words. So that's why we like also interviews, because we hit, or we have the three contents in one effort. That's why we think interviews are so important with the subject matter of expert. The only thing it comes that some people get nervous in front of the camera. So you have to know who inside the company of your client's company it's willing and like to have a camera in front of them. So that's the only issue that we found out with interviews, that not all people, when you put in front of them a camera, they freeze and they can't think about any good answer.
It required a lot of practice as well. When I started the video series, obviously, like it took me few interviews and definitely a will that I really want to work my way out through this. And the cause itself, once you have a vision that you want to generally help the community grow, right? That gives you better drive. So yeah, a lot of factors, to be honest.
Yes.
Wait, so Mauricio, do you basically like practice all inbound now, or there are like few outbound activities as well that your company practices?
I didn't hear you. Sorry, the connection wasn't so good. Can you repeat that?
I'm saying, is your agency all focused on inbound now, or is there own activities as well that you serve?
Okay, here is the thing. Yes, we are all inbound, but we have clients that are telling us, wait, why don't we do outbound as well? Because we can forget about outbound, or you can forget about not the cold calls, but the ABM now that it's getting along, that it's really almost like a cold email, but it's account-based marketing. It's the same technique. It's going and knock on a door and hope that you are in the right time with the right person. So we still have to do the three efforts. as I tell the clients, there are three kind of ways you can attract people. The first one is to knock on every door. So that's why we make the cold calls. That's why we start to make account-based marketing, and that's why we do Facebook advertising, because it's almost like a cold call. You
Definitely.
just have a little bit of more information, and you're trying to go to a narrower target group or buyer persona, if you want to see that well, that part. We can do that effort, but that those kind of strategies are based on hope. As I told you, you need to be in the right time and with the right person. And if you don't connect that person in the right time, it might be the right person, but if you connect it in the wrong time, they're not going to take action. So
Makes
it's mainly based on hope, and you have to do a lot of efforts and a lot of emails and a lot of, it's based on knocking many doors. The second part, I told the clients that it's traditional advertising. It's making brand awareness. That's what you really are doing, making brand awareness. And when you make brand awareness, you can justify your investment in terms of how many leads this investment gave me, because you're making brand awareness. You want everyone to know your product, your service, your solution. And having the statistics, it's really difficult. And that's something that traditional advertising struggles. I remember clients back then in the 90s when they were telling me, okay, we're putting a billboard in the biggest street in the of the city. Okay, how many people went through that part? We can know that, but how many people look at the advertising? And how many people that looked at advertising went to your store? And how many people that went to your store really buy? We can't know that. It's impossible to know that.
that time was again very painful. And even like any traditional media, right? You can't really like measuring that is such a impossible task. Even when you deal with multi channels as well, like attribution is something which is a pain point. And I would love to know how exactly do you address it in your agency
Well,
as
I tell clients, you have to give me a budget and forget about results on that part.
well?
Of course, we can have results, but or measure some kind of results of how many people watch the TV ad or so. And we can make some mixtures. We can make a call to action at the end of the traditional advertising TV ad. So get into our website right now, and we can see a little bit part, but it's making brand awareness. And making brand awareness is to be present with big budgets and all the time in the most media that you can afford. Because how it worked in another way. So if you are present all the days in a live person in the media that they are watching, so when they need your product, they're gonna think about you.
Definitely.
But you have to be there for how many years and in all the media. So you need a budget. Are you willing to do that? And I see a little bit as Google AdWords. It's a little kind of that part uh, because you need big budgets and you need to be present and you need volume. You need a lot of people, and so many little people are gonna become your leads in Google AdWords. So I tell them those are campaigns for brand awareness. So if you want to spend on brand awareness, that's a great, but it's gonna cost you, and you can't stop doing that. And when you don't know, imagine Coca-Cola saying we're gonna stop all our advertising. They're not gonna stop it, and they don't care because they, of course, it's gonna bring you back. And the third way to attract people is to be present when they are looking for a solution. So that's why I tell them digital marketing or inbound marketing is the most intelligent way, because in the first one, you need the right person and the right time. The second one, you need to be present in everywhere and all the time. And you don't know much money you're going to spend. And the third one, you're going to attract people that need a solution right now. They are looking for the solution. So what's the best part to invest in? Invest in those customers that they are really ready to spend money to do the solution. In the two others, they are not ready. They don't even think of your solution until they need you, and you've been present so many times that they think you as a vendor for that solution. Those are the three ways. And I tell them we can do the traditional advertising, and we were really good back then doing that. but it's a matter of money. Do you have the money? And all of the clients say, oh, I don't know, I don't want to spend my money like that. Of course, when there's a big company, they can do that. But a company, they need to invest their money in a very intelligent way.
Yep. But Mauricio, then one other contrary opinion comes, right? Inbound marketing does take time to build its momentum compared to paid ads, right? Where you see like quick results, right? And you can be targeted and stuff like that. How do you convince your customer? What is the, in your experience, what is the average time where you set your client's expectation?
Yes, that's difficult because inbound marketing, you have to build trust with Google and build trust with the people. So it's not quick. How much time do they need? At least they need a year to start doing that. So it's like investing without seeing immediate results. What I tell the clients is, okay, look at the results of our clients. Um, and when you understand that if you invest in inbound marketing, you have all the content becomes an asset that as long as if you give a good answer, the old blogs are going to perform better than the new ones because they gain that trust in terms of the algorithm and in terms of search and in terms of people. As an example, I have an ebook with one of our clients that explains two financial, it's leasing and credit. People doesn't know the difference. So in that ebook, we explain that part. And that ebook, it brings $8 million per year to the company. And of course, it's an ebook that we did around 10 years ago. And it's the ebook that brings a lot of revenue to the company. And why is that? Because, okay, you have two products and I need a loan, but I don't know if I need a credit or other kind of product or sales and lease back. So how do I choose? Every time you contact someone, they're going to tell you, okay, you want credit or you want lease? Well, I know the difference. So it's really simple. It's educating your customers. And if you do that, content is going to become an asset that it's going to last a long. Instead of the traditional advertising or paid advertising, the moment you stop your budget or your campaign, you have zero presence in the internet. You become again no one. And if you do content marketing with inbound marketing, those questions are really good and they're going to perform for a long time because they are really helpful. And we want, as consumers, is to understand which product is going to give us the best solution.
Makes sense.
And
Sorry.
yeah, so that's what I tell them. And of course, I have a lot of graphics. As an example, we have a client at the beginning, when you start doing inbound marketing, you can mix paid advertising and inbound marketing. So you can get the target of X amount of leads. But another disadvantage of paid advertising is because it's an auction, people are willing to pay more for the same terms. And people are understanding a little bit more about paid advertising. So you have more players in the ground. So the same results, it's going to cost you more and more over time.
That's true.
And inbound marketing or content marketing, that content you already paid for it, so you'll leave it there, and that content is gonna bring each time more people. So they are inverse of investments.
Follow the same strategy, having a mix of both inbound and paid strategies together, and then gradually decreasing the paid ads budget and investing more on inbound.
Yes, that's what we do with our clients, and we explain that we're going to spend the same money and we're going to have less results with paid advertising. Or you want to increase your budget. And I tell them again, remember, you are making mostly brand awareness with paid advertising. Or it's a mixture, a strange mixture between trying to get leads and brand awareness. And the other thing with paid advertising is at the beginning, you have two kind of results. We don't trust advertising anymore because advertising was I don't know, they didn't tell you the truth or the complete truth before. So we don't trust advertising or traditional advertising. And when you're looking to solve a problem, you want to learn, not to buy. Of course, you're going to buy a solution, but first you need to understand what are the results of the several solutions you're looking for. and you don't want to buy right away. And that's why a lot of people don't click on the advertising.
That's true. That's true.
As the people, when we're
CTR
searching,
on ads, CTR on ads, even if you're ranking on the very top, is like somewhere around 2 to 3% industry standard. So when your organic result is ranking on the top, the click-through rate just tosses off the roof, right? There are a lot who will agree with this thought altogether.
yeah,
But at the same time, Mauricio, don't you feel like it might be a little bit of struggle just setting the expectation of client that you'll actually have to wait for, say, a year to see the actual benefit of the inbound strategy? Do you, and how exactly do you cope up with retaining those customers, and how you go about that?
okay, we try to do annual contracts with our clients.
Okay.
Um, and the good clients that stay with us are being, since we started, we have clients that they've been doing inbound marketing 7, 8, 9 years. And those are our good clients. And I don't know, it's a matter of trust, and you become part of the company as an agency because you understand their language, you understand the product, you understand a lot of things. So you're building a relationship with a client that has to be in the long term. So if you have a client or a lead that want immediate results and they don't want to invest for the long term, they are not gonna be good clients. Uh, Go away from those kind of clients. And that's why we are a small company, because we try to only accept those clients that we see that they have the culture and that we can build that long last relationship with them. Because doing inbound marketing to be successful, you have to become part of the company. You have to understand perfectly the product, to understand who are the subject matter of experts inside. As an example, in the tequila company, we have 100 people that we've interviewed inside, different people from production, and we know every one of them. So we know when we have a question about this subject, we know that we have to go with this person. So building that you can do it in a year. You do it in 2 or 3 or 4 years.
That's true.
And of course, it's another part of, we explain the clients on how Google thinks. So you might have a great answer or the best answer of the world, and you have that answer. But if Google goes into your website and you don't have a lot of answers around, because there are a million websites that also have a good answer.
That's
So
true.
how does Google gives you the first place? Well, it's a matter of having a great answer and having a lot of answers. And how much is a lot of answers? I don't know. It's around 1,000 articles. So you need a really big website. And to have a really big website and to be in big leagues in email marketing, you need to do all that content. And to do 1,000 articles is going to take you 4 or 5 years.
Definitely.
Or you can do it in 1 year, but it's going to cost a lot.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know if they have the amount of money, but really they don't have it. So you have to go slowly, and to give a good answer, it takes time. You can build 1,000 articles and give good answers in 1 year. It's impossible. No one can do that.
Yeah, I think even if you go, if you have a big marketing budget and you go about it, then also it's a matter of like persistence as well. The authority in a domain gets formed with the continuous effort, not just like one time effort and and boom, it happens, right? So
Yeah.
that's not a scenario. Yep, makes
Yeah,
sense.
it's not a sprint. It's a marathon. You're
That's
going to be there for 42 kilometers. You're not going to be there for 400 meters.
yep, yep,
So yeah, it's the same. And it has to do with the culture. It's something that you do every day. And in the traditional advertising, we did other things. We did a great campaign that it's going to last for 3 or 4 months, or at most 6 months. And then we have to do something different and better. So we weren't used to do the campaigns for the long term.
gotcha.
And email marketing is for the long term.
Definitely, definitely. Mauricio, please share one of the most successful inbound campaign that you've run so far? And what are the main KPIs that you draw that kind of concluded the successful campaign?
I think the most successful campaign is the one that I mentioned before. And it was really simple. It's just when you have a product that it's very expensive and it's not easy to buy,
Yep.
because the industry has, you're going to be very successful. And that's why that ebook brings them so much money in revenue and in contracts. And it's so easy and so simple. It's just explain the main two things that you have. You have a lease and you have credit. When do I choose one? What are the differences? And it was a really simple.
Yep.
So don't try to make rocket science with digital marketing. It's
Yep.
really about educating and explaining your solution and the results. And of course, if you can explain the results of other solutions and try to explain to people why your solution is better, and you should believe that. If you don't believe your solution is better than the competition, you are wrong.
That's true.
So if you believe that you have that special sauce and your solution gives better results, and try to explain it to the people really easy, that's when you become successful doing inbound marketing.
Yep. And that's true. You have to keep on continuously put your efforts on improving your maybe already ranking blog page as well. Because at some point you will slip that position. And if you keep on not adding or improving that content, you may like at a later stage fall behind.
And you have to be constant. As an example, some clients tell me, okay, how many blogs per month or how many videos or what should be? And of course, the machines are measuring everything. So I tell them, why explain that part like this? Okay, if the Google bot comes into your website and you don't have anything new in your website, they can take the picture of your website every day and they can index every day. So if they see that you don't have new content, the Google bot is going to come in 2 months. And if they return in 2 months and you don't have new content, they're going to send you into a 4-month period. Why? Because they don't have the bandwidth to have the picture or index all the websites in the world every day. But if you have constantly new content in your website, they see the Google bot sees that they have new content that could be a good answer. And remember that the answers that are in the website are their currency. That's what they sell us. They sell us answers. So they're turning, okay, here's new currency that I can give to a person so they stay and can searching in Google because that's where they live from. They're going to do it. So at least we've done a lot of things and we tried a lot of numbers of the amounts of content. And we've come to 12, at least 12 new contents on your website. So the algorithm sees that you are making content. So
that's what you
at
recommend.
least 12. Of course, you can do 8, you can do 6. But if you do less than 6 new contents per month in your website, they're not going to take you serious. And of course, when are you going to get to those, the amount of 1,000 blogs that when you're really good and big, so you're never going to get there. So that's what you tell them. And then those 12 contents, it can be times 3 because if there are good contents, you should make them in video and in podcast.
Makes sense.
So it becomes mostly 48 new contents that you really need to do. And if you, well, have to be constant and do it every month. So it's not easy. It's not easy that all the clients want the amount of content.
Yeah, I'm sure. It requires a lot of discipline to have that consistency. So, makes sense. Is there any horror story that you would like to share? Because you carry so many years of experience, you started so young. Anything that happened and you were not happy about it, and one lesson that you learned from that?
Okay, the thing is, because this is based on technology, everything changes so fast. So I don't know if we're gonna need to reinvent ourselves again. I don't know. Artificial intelligence is coming. So in terms of how we do marketing right now, we're gonna start using more big data to make the algorithms help us to make better decisions on which kind of content we should make with the nurturing campaigns and all that. So that's a scary part because I had to reinvent myself 12 years ago, and I see that we're gonna reinvent ourselves again. So it's a mixture of every time we need to learn more and have new skills in the agency that we didn't have before. So that's a scary part. So when it's gonna end, I don't know when it's gonna end. But the other good part that I see, that's the part that I don't like because, and it's happening so fast.
Yep.
But the other part is that we are humans, and we as humans, we connect. As I told you, the principle is really easy. Your product is difficult and it's very costly. I'm not gonna buy it really easy. It's not like buying a gum or a chewing gum that you can buy and you don't care if you can buy 5 brands in a row and try them all. We can do that as an example with a car.
That's
So we need content, and we need that content to make our decision. And that principle is the only thing that tells me, okay, you've been doing that principle since you started with traditional advertising. It was the same thing. You talk about a product, you show the benefits, and you show that product it's good for this kind of people, and you show them the solution and the result of the solution. So it's the same. As long as we as humans don't change that part, we have a really solid strategy to keep on following. The other thing and the other thing that is important is that if you do the same thing every day, you become a master in performing that thing. So that's the thing that I try to concentrate, to understand how people make the decision and what information is important. Because the other part, that how are we gonna give you that information, it's gonna change a lot with the algorithms and all the things that are coming. So basically, that those are the two things. The good thing is we are humans, we're not gonna change in that part, and the scary thing is that we're gonna need to learn a lot of new skills on how to do it.
That's very wise. Mauricio, any final words that or thoughts that you would like to share with our viewers, please?
Try to do the things that we done. Try to search for the good clients that are looking for the long term, and don't get bad leads, because that's another thing that we started before. We work with bad leads, and it doesn't work. They hate you and you hate them.
That's true. That's true.
So when we were talking about your client and your agency should have the same goals and the same kind of culture, it's true. It's not only the revenue. It has to be, you have to be a fit in terms of culture. And that's a difficult part, because when you're starting, or you are slow, or become or downsize your agency, because in these times you expand and then you downsize, expand and downsize. That's the real thing. As an example, with COVID, a lot of clients got scared, and they finished their contracts with us, and other clients, they lower their contracts. So it's a real thing that you have to expand and go. So if it's gonna be that difficult, try to select your best clients, and then don't accept those clients that don't fit into your culture.
That's true. That's true. And that's very wise. Thank you so much, Mauricio, for all the useful tips that you have shared with us and sharing about your life, your agency, and all your wisdom. Really appreciate all your time.
Thank you so much, and I'll be happy to be again with you anytime you want.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.